My beloved child, stop for a moment and listen carefully, because what you are about to hear is not a coincidence. You did not arrive here by accident. Out of all the voices you could have listened to today, somehow you found yourself here, at this exact moment, hearing these exact words. And there is a reason. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. There is someone who thinks about you far more than you realize. Someone whose heart becomes restless when your name crosses their mind. Someone who quietly watches from a distance, carrying emotions they rarely allow anyone to see. The truth is shocking. They truly care about you. More than you know. More than they have ever admitted. More than they intended to. Yet something is holding them back. And that one thing has created a wall between what they feel and what they are willing to show. But before I reveal what it is, you need to understand something important. For a long time, you have been asking questions inside your heart. Why does this connection feel different? Why do certain signs keep appearing? Why do certain memories refuse to leave your mind? Why does it feel as though an invisible thread keeps pulling two paths together even when life tries to separate them? Those questions were never random. And tonight, answers are beginning to appear. Don't skip. Every word matters. Because what happens next may change the way you see this entire situation. You see, while you have been trying to understand what is happening, someone else has been fighting a silent battle. A battle nobody can see. A battle between their heart and their fear. Their heart tells them to move closer. Their heart tells them to speak. Their heart tells them to stop hiding. But fear keeps whispering something different. Fear tells them to stay silent. Fear tells them to wait. Fear tells them they might lose everything if they take one step forward. And that fear has become stronger than they ever expected. What makes this so surprising is that they never planned for this connection to become important. At first, they thought it would pass. They thought the feelings would fade. They thought time would make everything easier. But time did the opposite. Every day, the emotions became deeper. Every day, the connection became harder to ignore. Every day, the silence became heavier. And now they find themselves standing at a crossroads they never expected to reach. Something inside them knows they cannot stay where they are forever. Something inside them knows change is coming. Yet they hesitate. Not because they do not care. But because they care too much. Let that sink in. Many people assume distance means a lack of feeling. Many people assume silence means indifference. Many people assume hesitation means someone doesn't care. But sometimes the opposite is true. Sometimes the deepest feelings create the greatest hesitation. Because when something matters deeply, the risk feels bigger. The possibility of disappointment feels bigger. The possibility of rejection feels bigger. And suddenly even the strongest person can become uncertain. This is exactly where they are right now. Standing between what they feel and what they fear. Standing between hope and hesitation. Standing between action and silence. And what happens next depends on a decision that has been growing inside them for longer than you realize. Stay till the end. Because the revelation is closer than you think. There is something they have never fully admitted. Not even to themselves. Every time they try to move on, something pulls them back. Every time they try to focus elsewhere, their thoughts return. Every time they convince themselves it is over, another reminder appears. A memory. A feeling. A moment. A sign. And suddenly they find themselves thinking about you again. They tell themselves they should stop. But they don't. Because deep down, they don't want to. That is the truth nobody talks about. The connection remains because it still means something. And lately, that meaning has become impossible to ignore. In recent days, something has been changing inside them. A realization. A quiet awakening. A growing awareness that life keeps moving forward. That opportunities do not wait forever. That some doors remain open only for a season. And this realization has created pressure they cannot escape. For the first time, they are beginning to understand what they could lose if they continue hiding. For the first time, they are beginning to see that fear has already stolen enough time. For the first time, they are questioning whether silence is really protecting them at all. And that question is becoming louder every day. Don't skip. Because the next part of this message may be the one thing you needed to hear. The obstacle holding them back is not what most people think. It is not a lack of feeling. It is not a lack of care. It is not a lack of connection. The obstacle is uncertainty. A fear of stepping into the unknown. A fear of exposing emotions they have protected for so long. A fear of discovering whether the feelings they carry will be understood. And uncertainty can keep someone frozen for far longer than expected. But uncertainty has a weakness. The longer it remains unanswered, the more uncomfortable it becomes. Eventually, questions demand answers. Eventually, silence becomes exhausting. Eventually, the heart grows tired of waiting. And that moment is approaching. Closer than they realize. Closer than you realize. Something is shifting beneath the surface. Something is moving behind the scenes. Something that cannot remain hidden forever. Right now, it may seem like nothing is happening. Right now, it may look like the story has stopped. But appearances can be deceiving. Some of the most important changes happen quietly before anyone sees the results. Like the first light before sunrise. Like the first drop before the rain. Like the first spark before the flame. The movement begins in silence. And that is exactly where this story is now. In the silence before something changes. In the stillness before a decision. In the pause before a revelation. Stay with me. Do not leave now. Because in the next part, you will discover the hidden event that has forced them to confront their feelings in a way they never expected. And once that truth comes to light, everything may begin moving faster than anyone imagined. Something huge is waiting for you. A silent shift has already begun. Right now, while you are listening to these words, something is happening that very few people can see. The person who truly cares about you is no longer where they were before. No, they may not have spoken everything they feel. No, they may not have taken the step you expected. But something inside them has changed. And once you understand what changed, the entire story starts making sense. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The truth is that for a very long time, they believed they could control their emotions. They believed they could place their feelings inside a locked room and simply walk away. They believed they could distract themselves. Ignore the signs. Silence the thoughts. Convince themselves that nothing needed to happen. But recently, life presented them with a moment they never expected. A moment so simple that most people would have overlooked it. Yet for them, it changed everything. It made them stop. It made them think. And most importantly, it made them realize how much you truly matter. That realization did not arrive all at once. It arrived quietly. Like a whisper. Like a small voice they could not ignore. And every day since then, that voice has become louder. Now they are beginning to see things differently. They are beginning to understand that some connections do not disappear simply because we tell them to. Some feelings remain. Some bonds continue. Some people leave a mark on the heart that time cannot erase. And whether they admit it openly or not, you are one of those people. Don't skip. Because what comes next is something they never expected to discover. You see, they thought they were protecting themselves. They thought distance would make everything easier. They thought waiting would bring clarity. Instead, waiting created more questions. Questions they cannot answer. Questions that keep returning. Questions that follow them everywhere. What if they stay silent too long? What if the opportunity passes? What if the door they keep staring at finally closes? These thoughts have become impossible to ignore. And that is exactly why a new chapter is beginning. Because eventually every heart reaches a point where silence becomes heavier than honesty. Every heart reaches a point where fear becomes more exhausting than action. And they are approaching that point now. Closer than ever before. Something huge is waiting for you. Stay till the end. Because this next revelation is powerful. The one thing holding them back has started losing its power. Think about that. The very obstacle that kept them frozen. The very fear that kept them silent. The very uncertainty that stopped them from moving forward. Is no longer as strong as it used to be. Every day they question it more. Every day they challenge it more. Every day they feel its grip weakening. And when fear weakens, truth becomes stronger. When uncertainty weakens, clarity becomes stronger. When hesitation weakens, movement becomes stronger. That is exactly what is happening. Right now. Behind the scenes. Where nobody else can see. But there is another secret. One they would never openly tell. There have been moments when they imagined what life would look like if they stopped holding back. Moments when they wondered what would happen if they simply listened to their heart. Moments when they imagined a different future. A future without endless questions. A future without endless waiting. A future where everything finally becomes clear. Those thoughts arrive unexpectedly. And when they do, they stay much longer than they used to. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because the next truth may surprise you. Many people think change happens suddenly. But real change often begins long before anyone notices. First comes awareness. Then comes reflection. Then comes realization. And finally, comes action. They are already moving through those first stages. Which means the final stage may be much closer than anyone realizes. That is why this message matters. Because what looks like silence today may actually be preparation. What looks like distance today may actually be reflection. What looks like nothing today may actually be the beginning of something important. Never judge a story by the chapter you are currently reading. The most powerful moments often arrive after the longest pauses. And this pause has been longer than most. But it will not last forever. Nothing remains frozen forever. Nothing remains hidden forever. Nothing remains unsaid forever. The truth always finds a way forward. And that truth is becoming impossible for them to ignore. There is a reason you felt drawn here today. There is a reason these words feel familiar. There is a reason this message keeps unfolding piece by piece. Because the story is not finished. Not even close. The most surprising chapter has not arrived yet. And in the next part, you will discover the unexpected sign that convinced them something bigger is happening than they ever imagined. A sign that changed the way they see this connection. A sign they cannot forget. A sign that may explain everything. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you. An unexpected sign changed everything. For a long time, they believed they could keep moving forward without confronting what was in their heart. They convinced themselves that time would solve everything. They convinced themselves that distance would create answers. They convinced themselves that eventually the feelings would become smaller. But something happened. Something they never planned. Something they never expected. And it forced them to look at this connection in a completely different way. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. The strange part is that the sign was not loud. It was not dramatic. It was not something the whole world could see. It was quiet. Simple. Yet impossible to ignore. Suddenly they found themselves remembering moments they had pushed aside. Little details. Little conversations. Little memories they thought were long forgotten. And each memory carried the same message. You mattered. Far more than they had admitted. Far more than they wanted to admit. Far more than they could explain. The more they reflected, the clearer everything became. What they once called coincidence started feeling meaningful. What they once dismissed started returning. What they once ignored became impossible to overlook. And that is when they realized something surprising. The connection never disappeared. It only became hidden beneath fear. Think about that. The feelings were never truly gone. The care was never truly gone. The importance was never truly gone. It was simply buried beneath questions, doubts, and hesitation. But now those layers are beginning to fall away. One by one. Piece by piece. And underneath them, the truth remains exactly where it has always been. Don't skip. Because the next revelation is something very few people understand. Most people wait for certainty before they move forward. But certainty rarely arrives first. Usually, courage comes before certainty. Usually, action comes before certainty. Usually, faith comes before certainty. And lately, they have started learning this lesson. Every day they spend thinking about the situation brings them back to the same conclusion. The same realization. The same truth. Their heart keeps pointing in the same direction. No matter how many times they try to look elsewhere. No matter how many distractions appear. No matter how much time passes. The answer keeps returning. That is not something they can easily explain. And it is certainly not something they expected. Yet it continues happening. Again. And again. And again. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because there is another layer to this story. A layer that changes everything. You see, what has been holding them back is starting to feel smaller than what is pulling them forward. Read that again in your heart. The fear is becoming smaller. The hesitation is becoming smaller. The uncertainty is becoming smaller. Meanwhile, the desire for clarity is becoming stronger. The desire for honesty is becoming stronger. The desire to stop wondering is becoming stronger. And that balance is beginning to shift. This is why recent days have felt different. Even if nobody can see it. Even if nobody talks about it. Something beneath the surface is changing direction. Like a river slowly turning toward a new path. The movement is gradual. But it is real. And once a river changes direction, it rarely returns to where it started. That is exactly what makes this moment so important. Because they are no longer asking whether they care. That question has already been answered. Now they are asking a different question. A much bigger question. What happens if they finally stop holding back? That question follows them everywhere. It appears during quiet moments. It appears when they least expect it. It appears when they try to focus on other things. And every time it appears, it becomes harder to ignore. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you. Because what comes next may be the most powerful revelation yet. There is a reason this connection has survived every season. There is a reason it continues appearing in their thoughts. There is a reason it refuses to disappear. Strong connections are not measured by how often people speak. They are measured by how deeply they remain present. And despite everything, You remain present. That truth has become impossible for them to deny. No matter how much time passes. No matter how many distractions appear. No matter how many reasons they create. The reality remains unchanged. You still matter. And that realization is creating momentum. The kind of momentum that eventually leads somewhere. The kind of momentum that changes stories. The kind of momentum that transforms silence into action. Right now, they are standing closer to a breakthrough than ever before. Closer to clarity. Closer to honesty. Closer to a decision. Closer to the moment when fear finally loses its grip. And when that moment arrives, everything begins to look different. That is why you must stay with me. Because in the next part, you will discover the final hidden truth they have been avoiding for far too long. A truth that could change the entire direction of this story. A truth connected directly to the one thing they can no longer run from. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Because something huge is waiting for you.